So, ladies and gentlemen, right now the primary election for the next mayor of the second largest city in America, Los Angeles, is underway, with current mayor Karen Bass, Spencer Pratt, and Nithya Raman making their last-second push to see who will win. Now, the top two vote getters will go into a runoff unless one reaches 50%, then they win. And so in today's video, Karen Bass makes a last-ditch effort to smear Spencer Pratt, but for many voters, they're tired of the drug addicts being given free drug use kits paid for by taxpayer money to do drugs in the streets while the communities they live in only get worse. As always, if you enjoy the content, smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way to let me know. Stay locked in with future content. Subscribe to the channel. Let's start right here.
So here's a look at the last polling conducted ahead of Election Day. It shows Mayor Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt effectively tied at 30%, with Councilmember Nithya Raman not far behind with 23%. 5% were undecided. This polling is from California Post and McLaughlin Associates. It was conducted early last week.
No time for amateurs. We don't need a TV reality show villain, nor do we need a former councilwoman who has been in City Hall twice as long as I have and who is okay with tents in the street.
I have demonstrated my capacity for delivering results in my time as a council member and as a legislator that has led the city.
She says it's not time for amateur hour.
Agree. That's why I'm running. She failed us. She was in Ghana when she should have been the mayor and let 7,000 homes burn to the ground due to literal negligence.
Now, the reason why Karen Bass is finding herself in a tight race, despite being the first-term mayor who, as we'll get into, claims to be cleaning up the city of Los Angeles, is because the people of Los Angeles have absolutely lost all confidence in her, basically because of two issues which Spencer Pratt has been very vocal about: the Palisade fire and homelessness. And so if things turn into a runoff between her and Pratt in November, that doesn't really spell good news for her, because that just allows more time to pull back the veil on all the misuse of taxpayer dollars, and really more time for people to see exactly what the results of Bass as mayor, what that looks like, which Spencer Pratt will have more time to highlight. And we'll get into that in a moment. But first, let's check out Bass in this clip and what she has to say to voters who are even thinking about voting for Spencer Pratt because he's a former reality TV star and that whole thing, which I find hilarious, considering that in her 20s, she was cozying up to communists in Cuba. But I guess that's okay, as long as you're not a reality TV star. Check this out.
What message do you have to emphasize in these remaining days?
Well, how important this election is and what the basic choices are. Are we going to choose a TV villain reality star? Are we going to choose a councilwoman who takes every position on every issue and is okay to walk through, that she believes that parents and kids, doesn't matter whether they have to walk through the middle of the street in order to avoid an encampment? What I believe, along with the councilwoman here, Monica Rodriguez, is that we should not have anybody on our street in the nation's second largest city, period. But not to just move them and hide them, but to actually get them housed. And that's why we have reduced homelessness 2 years in a row. And that's why 42,000 units of housing are under the permit review right now, and why crime is at a historic 60-year low.
Wow. So yeah, that was, how do I say, not the truth, because she's only taken into account the homicide rate, which, yes, it has gone down slightly. But to say that crime as a whole is down in Los Angeles, which is what she's trying to suggest, is a lie. Just because homicides are occurring less does not mean crime is down, and she knows that. And as far as the homelessness goes, you don't get to spend hundreds of millions of dollars moving people into housing, watch a huge portion of those very same people end right back up on the streets because they're not actually getting the real help that they need, because you're enabling these people with free drug use kits and then declare victory because the numbers move slightly in your favor. And so let's check out this next clip on exactly how her free drug programs, how they're going. Take a listen.
Open drug use, rising violence, and a growing sense that no one is stepping up to stop it. On Friday, Fox 11 exposed disturbing scenes outside of the Skid Row Care Campus, a downtown LA harm reduction center. Fox 11's Gina Silva joins us here in studio with more on this growing problem in a story you'll see only on Fox 11. Gina?
That's right, Laura. Residents and the LAPD say conditions around the $26 million taxpayer-funded facility have deteriorated dramatically. So we reached out to the elected officials responsible for overseeing the area and also funding the facility.
Drug deals in broad daylight. People openly getting high on the sidewalk. Overdoses right outside the Skid Row Care Campus, a taxpayer-funded facility that distributes drug paraphernalia as part of its harm reduction services.
40% of the people that are homeless died from a drug overdose. So I don't know how continuing to enable people like this is really helping.
Understand what she's doing, ladies and gentlemen. They are providing people who are addicted to drugs with the actual pipes, needles, and whatever else they need besides the actual drugs. They're providing them with all of that, then giving these people housing, all on the taxpayers' dime. But the excuse that the left will make is that the reason why Karen Bass is being criticized so harshly and why Spencer Pratt is picking up so much momentum is because Karen Bass is a black woman, apparently, in Los Angeles and the first black female mayor. Take a listen to this.
But I am also going to say that you are in the history books for being the first black female mayor of Los Angeles.
Yes.
And I'm also going to say I personally, as a Caucasian lady, and I'm so white you can see through to my veins, and I really think a lot of the adversity comes your way because you're a black woman. And I want to ask you about something sensitive, but in my opinion, just as a citizen observer, is it seems like the city council can be hostile towards you, as well as LA Sheriff's Department and LAPD. Can you talk about how you don't have the power to walk into a precinct and say, okay, I want you to break up protests this way? Or, you know, people think you're actually giving a call to arms to law enforcement to get into the fights they get into at downtown LA on a nightly basis, et cetera. So talk to us about what is, if you can, what it's like dealing with such maybe non-diverse groups as law enforcement, although they are diverse, but there's maybe some white nationalism in law enforcement, is my opinion, and the city council has been messy. So how do you deal with those elements?
Yeah, and so it has nothing to do with the fact that, you know, she's not doing her job well as mayor. Instead, it's because she's a black woman who is a mayor in probably the most liberal city in America. If not, it is definitely close. No, the fact that on the ground level, when you speak to people, they get a sense that, you know, she's not really doing her job. And so let's take a listen to what those individuals on the ground level have to say, starting with a guy who they call the mayor of Skid Row. Take a listen.
We spoke with here in Skid Row, the so-called mayor of Skid Row. This is a gentleman named Kevin Call, who got that name because of his advocacy for the homeless and his battles basically to end homelessness and addiction here in Los Angeles, who really lambasted Karen Bass. And we also talked to a homeless gentleman about the crisis, how long he's been on the streets. First, you're going to hear from Kevin Call. Have a listen.
I actually had a meeting with her the day she got elected, when she told us that she would turn this city around and she began to work with the homeless. I asked her, what are we going to do about this crisis? We got the Olympics coming here. We got the World Cup coming here. Yeah. All your citizens, as you know
What was her answer?
Well, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But how long can you work on it?
Do you think this will ever go away? You know, Skid Row, the homeless encampments here.
I tell you what, they can clean it up to a certain point. I don't care what they do. It's going to be some stragglers along, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't gonna be like this, though, you know, it'll be a lot better. Yeah, and then on top of that, man, I'm gonna just tell you the truth. Some get comfortable both down here, knowing they can get something to eat and don't have to work and all that. Yeah, but I ain't with that.
And Greta, actually, as he was talking, we're seeing an LAPD helicopter now circling overhead, and we're hearing a lot of sirens downtown. Who knows what that is? Kevin, by the way, used to live
on Skid Row for many years before he was able to clean up and get himself out of there. And one final note, that gentleman that we were talking to, his name is T-Bone on the Streets. He lives on the corner in that basically tent and tarp encampment. And before our interview, he asked Greta if he could have a smoke. And I thought he was talking about a cigarette that he was rolling. But instead, when I said, yeah, he loaded his pipe with rock cocaine, with crack cocaine, and smoked. A really sad, disturbing reminder of what happens every day here in the city of Los Angeles, Greta.
I mean, these people need real help. But instead, all they're doing in Los Angeles is enabling these individuals to keep indulging in their addiction. And so, of course, it's going to look the way it looks. Worst part is only making it less safe for the working class residents, less safe for the businesses. Take a listen to this.
Hi, Bill. Yeah, we spent hours yesterday walking up and down downtown where we spoke to small businesses that are still sticking it out here. I want to show you some of the stories that we heard, and they all center around safety. One of them here, this dry cleaner, said someone took a scooter just like this one, threw it through the window while one of the business owners was inside, not only harming him, but causing his wife to feel so unsafe that she, as one of the business owners, won't even come into the store downtown. They say they've stolen $30,000 or so from this store, and another homeless person had used their dressing room here as a bathroom. Now, I want to take you over to Erwin Padula's store here, Weird Beers. He's been here for 30 years. He says that his glass has been shattered as well. You'll notice he has this wood boarded up here, and he doesn't plan to replace it with glass because he says there's no point. They're going to do it again. He'd rather spend that money on inventory. Now, this is important to note that he doesn't even want to watch the security footage because he believes that the police don't have the capacity and enough people to come and help him. And he wants the mayor's candidates to now make him feel less ignored. We asked, did any of the candidates come to speak to him? He said no. That includes all three major candidates, Rahman, Pratt, and current Mayor Bass. I asked him what he would say to them if he had the opportunity.
I don't think they need me to tell them what they need to do because they talk about it every day on TV or on their ads that they place on, so they know what the issues are. The problem is that are they going to really do something about it? I really don't think so.
And Bill, those were just two of several stories that we heard. Back to you.
I'm sure when it gets to a point where business owners don't even want to replace a door or a window because they just know it's going to get vandalized again. That is a state of emergency, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. And when you decide that the way you are going to fix a problem like crime, homelessness, and violence in a huge city like Los Angeles, and you decide, you know what we're going to do? We're going to solve this problem using compassion instead of law and order. Then it's no surprise when these are the results. But let's check out this next clip because even with all of that, you still have people who will ignore everything and simply vote based on identity politics. Check this out.
Who are you voting for?
It's Rahman.
Why her over Bass?
Well, she's Indian and I'm South Asian.
Respect.
So
what do you think about Spencer Pratt?
Not much.
Do you think he has a chance?
I don't know. Do you?
I mean, if people are willing to elect Trump, some people just want to vote for the white guy.
That's true.
Just because they're white.
That's unfortunate.
What do you think about that? People voting on like based on like race and stuff.
I think it's a kind of unfortunate because you should be looking at someone's credentials, really.
I'll leave it here. Los Angeles voters have to decide if they're going to keep on falling for excuses or finally judge the left based on the results, ladies and gentlemen. They see the homelessness, right? They see the drug use. They see the crime. They see all of that. Businesses giving up. And they also see how taxpayer money is being spent while the city is still broken. And that's why Spencer Pratt is gaining momentum. I mean, not because he has some perfect resume. Clearly he doesn't. But because he's saying what a lot of people in Los Angeles already knew, that this is not working. And so, sure, he doesn't have the experience. That's a fact that can't be disputed. But then again, Karen Bass does have the experience. And what has her experience actually delivered? Those are my thoughts in the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Don't forget you enjoy the content. Smash that thumbs up. For more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.